So once you've completed computer animation 1, 2, and 3, you're going to be ready to begin taking advanced classes. We have advanced classes, Computer Animation 233, which is animation scripting. In that class, you're going to be focused on how you write good code, how you apply that code to create interactive media within the computer so that you can create things that might be a little bit harder to animate frame by frame like you have been doing. You want to do things using scripting that makes things easier. You might be more into the technical area, so you might be working and writing tools that will actually make animators' lives more easy or a little less tedious. And so you'll be learning skills in order to do that. In CSC 236, you're going to be learning things like advanced rendering. You're going to be learning things like dynamics. You're going to be looking at things in a more advanced type of way where you're getting even more control over the software and applying things for visual effects and things of that nature. Now, once you've finished these advanced classes, you're going to move into the final stage, which is what's called the digital media portfolio. And in this class, you're going to be introduced to clients from the community that actually have a project or have a need that they need you to fill. It could be creating images for something. We've been doing shows for theater where we create artwork for the projection and the backdrops of theater. It could be something like a 3D model. A 3D model that could be used for 3D printing. You might be working on a product that doesn't exist yet. You might be creating an interactive feature for somebody that needs something. A lot of times we've also been doing a lot of educational types of animations where we're creating models, maybe a character, maybe a representation of an arm or a human body, and describing how functions of that body, different systems work, or things of that nature. So you never really know what's going to be coming through the door in that class, and it gives you person-to-person interaction with a client. The client comes into the room and explains their needs. You have to take down notes and figure out what it is that they need and work with them, ask them questions, and they come back again and they see what you've done. You get this feedback, you get critique, you get to make revisions, and in the end you have created something for that person to use on their project, whatever it is that they're doing. So digital media portfolio is where you have to really show what you're made of in order to satisfy the needs of the client. So it's a super and exciting class that I know it's one of those things that you can't wait to get to, but when you get there, the challenge is extremely high, but it's rewarding in the end.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a young prince lived in a shining castle. Although he had everything his heart desired, the prince was spoiled, selfish, and unkind. But then, one winter's night, an old beggar woman came to the castle and offered him a single rose in return for shelter from the bitter cold. Repulsed by her haggard appearance, the prince sneered at the gift and turned the old woman away. But she warned him not to be deceived by appearances, for beauty is found within. And when he dismissed her again, the old woman's ugliness melted away to reveal a beautiful enchantress. The prince tried to apologize, but it was too late, for she had seen that there was no love in his heart, and as punishment she transformed him into a hideous beast and placed a powerful spell on the castle and all who lived there. Ashamed of his monstrous form, the beast concealed himself inside his castle with a magic mirror as his only window to the outside world. The rose she had offered was truly an enchanted rose, which would bloom for many years. If he could learn to love another and earn their love in return by the time the last petal fell, the spell would be broken. If not, he would be doomed to remain a beast for all time. As the years passed, he fell into despair and lost all hope. For who could ever learn to love a beast?
What can your phone do?
When describing motion, human movement begins from the anatomical position and is described as taking place in a plane about an axis. A plane can be discussed as a flat surface, while an axis is a straight line around which an object rotates. 3 basic reference planes are used in anatomy. Sagittal planes lie vertically, are parallel to the sagittal suture, and divide the body into left and right portions. This term is Latin in its origins. Sagittal means like an arrow, a reference to the position of the spine. More specifically, the mid-sagittal or median plane would be located at the spine and in the midline. For example, the median plane would pass through any of the midline structures such as the navel or the spine, and all other sagittal planes are specifically referred to as parasagittal planes and run parallel to that median plane. Another plane that lies vertically is the coronal or frontal plane. However, it divides the body into posterior and anterior portions. The third plane lies horizontally and is referred to as the transverse plane. It is also known as an axial plane. It divides the body into top and bottom portions. As stated earlier, human movement takes place in a plane about an axis. There are 3 axes that we will be discussing: the frontal horizontal axis, the sagittal horizontal axis, and the vertical axis. When a person is walking, that individual is moving in the sagittal plane. It can be also described as moving about a frontal horizontal axis. Other examples of moving in the sagittal plane about a frontal horizontal axis would be performing a squat or even a leg raise. All of these movements can be classified as either extension or flexion.